Hi everyone, Don Singletary. In this video, we're going to be talking about trading after hours, or on the Globex, as it's called. I'll go over the hours for you in a minute. You know, a lot of people, like most people, I prefer to trade during the regular hours, and it's because I can. Not everyone can. They're out working jobs or have other obligations. And even those of us that do like to trade during regular hours, which Eastern time, are 9:30 until 4 o'clock for the New York Exchange and the NASDAQ. Now the futures run until 4:15 every day, 15 minutes longer, but I'll explain the hours in a minute and go over the Globex hours so you can do that. I was about to say, I enjoy trading on Globex sometimes, especially if I'm on vacation and keeping odd hours, or sometimes instead of watching TV in the evening, I'll read a book and set the alarms on some prices on Globex that I might like to trade at, and be able to do it that way. But anyway, everybody that trades should understand what Globex is, how it works, and how you can trade there, because it's there and there are some great trading opportunities. In the second half of this video, we're going to go over an overnight session in the Globex, and I'll show you some trade signals with our standard MACD setup here. The green is for Globex, and there you can see it. In the center of the screen almost is the 12 midnight, and all these times are Eastern time. Now look back over and you'll see when the day session ends at about 4 o'clock for the markets and 4:15 for the futures and the options. At 4:15 to 4:30 Eastern time, the market is closed. Then it opens back up at 4:30 till 5 o'clock for half an hour. Then between 5 and 6 p.m. Eastern time, the market is closed, and then it reopens and goes all the way through until 9:30 the next morning, when the day session begins again. Okay, now as promised, let's go over a Globex overnight right here, and I'll highlight that in green for you from 6 p.m. until 9:30 the next morning. Now, remember, the two rule of thumbs that I use for my trade signal indicators using the MACD, which is in the lower pane, are green over red, both above zero, that's a buy. And red over green, both below zero, that's a sell. Now, these are only guidelines, and they're a little bit on the conservative side, but that's okay, because the first rule, remember, is preservation of your capital. And the reason I keep saying that over and over is without that, you're not going to make it. Remember that, please. Now, let's have some fun. If you thought that overnight Globex trading might be a little dull, you're really going to like these examples, because there's plenty of action on this particular evening. And let's take the first buy signal. I see it just after 6 o'clock with the green line over the red line, and both being over the MACD 0 line right here. So we issue a buy order, and we're long one NASDAQ100 Micro Emini future at 97.38. Now, question, do you remember how we use the MACD signal to know when to get out of a trade? If you can't manage a trade, it doesn't matter if you can buy and sell. The management is the key to it, and that happens between your ears. Now, anytime you see the green and red line coming together as if they're going to converge, that means you're losing momentum in whichever direction the market happens to be going. In this case, it's going up, and I can see right about here where the green line flattens out and looks as though it might converge. Now, we have the genius of hindsight here. We can see easily that it does. But I'm telling you what you've got to look for in real time to make a decision to exit this trade. So we pull the trigger right here and exit the trade. Now you can see we exited at about 97.58. So we made a profit of 20 points, which is $40. Now, after all these years, I've got kind of a mathematical brain. So I'm thinking I got into this trade at 6:15, got out about 7:30. That's an hour and 15 minutes for $40. Okay, now let me remove a few of these markers on the chart here and show you something else. This has to do with trading, whether you're day trading or Globex and overnight. See the blue rectangle up top there? Now, each one of those candlesticks, it looks like there's 12 to 15 in there, is 5 minutes wide. So that's an hour to an hour and a half of time in that little blue rectangle up top. And the market did absolutely nothing. Now, sometimes you have to preserve the wear and tear on your psyche. You can't sit there and stare at the screen for 2 hours. And you might say, heck, I made $40. It's been another half hour. The market's going nowhere. I'll just quit for the evening right here. But you have to learn to do things like that because you don't want to get where you become impatient or too anxious to make a trade. So that's a part of trade management too. Another thing, and I talk about this extensively in my book, In the Psychology of Trading, this is a Pooh Bear on its back. It was put by a local TV station, Channel 4. And your brain, the point of this is your brain is so hardwired to find patterns in everything that it can trick you. So stay aware of that. By the way, there's a link below for my book. If you haven't seen it yet, you can get information there. I'd appreciate that. Let's get back to the fun now and take a look for the next signal. It's going to be inside the blue rectangle you see on the screen there. And we're looking for a sell signal. And under my own guideline rules, I would want the green line below the red line and for both of those lines to be below the zero of the MACD. Now what happens here is we have a very clear sell signal. So we sell one NASDAQ100 Micro Emini at a price of $97.30. Surprise, surprise, I just put a big black square on the screen that takes away your genius of hindsight. Let's go back to real time now. At around 8:30, whatever the time might be, we sold at $97.30. And I'm looking now how to manage the trade. I'm in the trade. It's live. My money is at risk. And I can only see what is happening on the screen. And I see down here that the green line and the red line look as though they may converge again. And when I see this, that is a sign for me to close the trade. Okay, I'm going to give the genius of hindsight back to you now. And you can see within a perfect world, we would have held on and made even more money. But we don't have that. So don't fool yourself into thinking when you look at charts after the fact that you could have guessed that, because you couldn't have. There's no way. You could have gambled that it would happen, and you could have said to yourself, well, it's down at minus 7.5, maybe it'll keep going, and it did. But under my system, I'm out of the trade here. I've made 15 points and $30. So we've been trading since about 6:15, and we're out of everything about 10:30. So that's around 4.5 hours. And if you're a beginner and you're making that first trade, 40 plus this 30, $70 in 4 hours for a beginner, that's fantastic. And you'll gain experience and be able to adjust my rules so that you'll have your own rules that fit you better. They might not fit me better, but they'll fit you better. And that's the whole point of experience. That's why you want to be sure and keep an accurate trade log, because sometimes you're going to make mistakes and you're going to need to go back and look at your trade log and say, what the hell was I thinking? And you find notes there, and that's how you learn. Well, thanks for taking the midnight cruise with me and going over a Globex session. I hope it's been helpful for you. Be sure when you see a video on the channel that you like, you click the like button, because that's the way it's saying to me when you click the like button, yeah, I'm on another video that has some of this. Or you can leave your comments. I always love to hear comments from viewers on the channel. And I do think you should take a look at my book if you haven't seen it yet. There's a link down below that says book, and I think it's a great way to help you learn, because it has all the important information, the types of orders, trade psychology, all about how the markets work, what types of orders to use. It has all those things in one place, and it only costs about the price of a cheeseburger and a Coke. And that's not too much to pay to get totally organized and speed up your learning. So if you consider that, I would really appreciate it. Another thing, too, on the channel, be sure and subscribe. I'm putting up a video about every week these days, and you'll get pinged whenever a video comes on, so you won't miss any of those. And that's about it. Thanks for being along today. This is Don Singletary. I hope every day is a payday for you. And thank you.